Granddaddy, your political career is over. Take them glasses off, take that suit off, take that little microphone you got attached to that suit off, take that watch off. It's time to walk you out in handcuffs, I think. Right now, they ought to walk you out in handcuffs and goddogged implement term limits. It's over, Chuck.
For months and months, Democrats have been fighting to get the Senate to address the health care crisis. This bill does nothing to ensure that that crisis is addressed. I am voting no, and I will keep fighting.
The Democrats is they took crime off the front page of every newspaper. That was the story, and they turned it into health care.
A vote on the extending the tax credits, it does not guarantee that it's going to happen. So how do you explain, though, to your constituents why it was worth it to put up this fight for so long when in the end you did not get your key demand?
Because it wasn't working. How long would it take to not get a response to say it isn't working? In other words, it's been 6 weeks. There's been the Republicans made it clear they weren't going to discuss the health care issue, the Affordable Care Act tax credits, until the shutdown was over. We tried to keep working that for 6 weeks. It didn't happen. The vote that we have is not a guarantee for sure. It's more of a guarantee. Here's the way I would put it. As I assessed it, there was zero chance of dealing with the ACA issue as long as the shutdown continued. Now, I don't know, 50-50? But there's a lot better chance now than there was this morning.
Want to really see something that said, take a look at what happened.
Hey. Why this beat so cold?
We will make America proud again. And you try to kill our we will make America wealthy again. And yes, together, we will make America great again.
And I mean this sincerely. We applaud the 7 Senate Democrats and 1 independent senator who did the right thing. They decided to put principle over their personal politics. And my urgent plea of all my colleagues in the House, and that means every Democrat in the House, is to think carefully, pray, and finally do the right thing and help us to bring an end to the pain of the American people. This has gone on too long. Too many people have suffered, and it's long overdue. That's the update I wanted to give you this morning. There are probably lots of questions, but I'm going to get a lot of my own questions answered later today, so stay tuned for more. Thanks so much.
All right, so here we go. We begin with a Fox News alert. The Senate taking a massive step toward reopening the government last night.
Several Democrats voting to break the filibuster on a major procedural vote, but final passage has yet to happen.
Maddie Rivera joins us live in Washington with the details. Maddie, at least we have something different to talk about today.
Yeah, it looks like we could be nearing the end of this shutdown stalemate. We hope. The Senate voted 60-40 to pass the bill overnight, the first step in a series of procedural maneuvers. 8 Democrats joined Republicans to pass the GOP's revised spending package, including Senate Minority Whip Dick Durbin, Senators Tim Kaine, Catherine Cortez Masto, and Jackie Rosen, among others. Senator Rand Paul was the only GOP no vote. The package will fund the government through the end of January, but in a major blow to progressives, it does not include a deal on Obamacare subsidies. It merely guarantees a vote on the tax credits at a future date. Still, the Dems who did vote for the bill say they were able to extract enough concessions to get them to cross party lines, like reversing the firings of furloughed workers.
This is the beginning to show and fight for Americans across the country. Let me just say this. With the government open, we can focus on passing a full bipartisan budget for 2026.
I understand that not all of my Democratic colleagues are satisfied with this agreement, but waiting another week or another month wouldn't deliver a better outcome.
It was our judgment after 6 weeks, going on 7 weeks of this shutdown, that path wasn't working.
Airlines, which have been dealing with the fallout from flight cuts as a result of air traffic controller shortages, are praising the vote. Airlines for America saying in part, it is more important than ever to ensure that our nation's airspace is safe, reliable, and open. House leadership, meantime, is telling members to expect votes this week and that they will give a 36-hour notice to return to D.C. Lawrence Ainsley and Brian.
All right, Maddie, thanks. So this is great news, I think, for the country. And you see these senators who were not organized. Chuck Schumer told them in March, go cross the line and vote for it. I don't think he had nothing to do with this. And he said, I'm going to vote no.
Yeah.
But then the amount of people upset by this. First off, we have to give credit to the people, the senators that walked across the aisle. Retiring Dick Durbin, Tim Kaine, not retiring, Angus King, who says I'm an independent, and he showed it. He's consistently voted to do this. Jeanne Shaheen, who's going to be with us. I heard that she wanted to do it right away. You're right. She wanted to do this right away. Catherine Cortez Masto represents a state that went to Trump, so she's representing her people. Jackie Rosen, too. John Fetterman's been stalwart, and Maggie Hassan. So thank you, but they got to hold.
Senator Hoodie. Once again, Senator Hoodie.
Hold till the House comes back and they do another test vote. You know the amount of pressure is going to be on them the next 48 hours.
Yeah, so if it passes the Senate, so that was a test vote last night, then they'll have another test. If these 8 continue to hold, it'll go on to the House. There are a lot of Democrats in the House that are saying they're going to vote no, including Hakeem Jeffries. They say they'll only vote to reopen in exchange for a deal on extending expiring Obamacare subsidies. But what this current deal does in the Senate is it does promise a vote on Obamacare in December. It reverses, as Maddie was saying, reverses some of the firings for furloughed workers, guarantees back paid for furloughed workers. Yep. It'll include full spending for the next year for Department of Ag, veterans, and military construction programs, and will reopen the current government through January 30th.
Those senators did what was best for the country. They put country over party, and when you lose your whip counter, then your operation is pretty much over. It is Dick Durbin's job to get the votes for the Democrats.
Great point.
And he's splintered.
Great point.
There, so that tells you everything that you need to know. But if you watch some of the coverage on other mainstream networks, they were upset, including leaders in the Democratic Party. Here's Bernie Sanders. Tonight was a very bad night. Zohran Mamdani, the new socialist mayor of New York, elect, he should be rejected, as should any politics willing to compromise on the basic needs of working people.
But as the mayor, he doesn't get a vote in this. So.
That's right. You got Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. People want us to hold the line for a reason. This is not a matter of appealing to a base. It's about people's lives, Brian.
Yeah, Newsom, who he's now playing the role of tough guy. It's hard to know what role he's playing because he changes so much.
Gavin Newsom.
We saw capitulation and betrayal of working Americans. The American
Greasy
people
Gavin.
need more from their leaders, and this is Chuck Schumer. America's in the midst of a Republican-made healthcare crisis, a crisis of so severe, so urgent, and so devastating the American family. Okay, I can't even finish reading this. Here's the thing
Look
about
at Ro Khanna.
Yeah, Ro Khanna, Senator Schumer should go. No longer effective to be replaced. He should be replaced. You can't lead the fight to stop healthcare premiums from skyrocketing for Americans. What will you fight for? But just real quick, what are you talking about? Obamacare is a thing that it needed emergency funding that was supposed to expire because Joe Biden's program says, we know this is unsustainable, get us through the pandemic, throw money at it, but we're going to expire it. There's a rescue package that we didn't need. So with that going away, how is this Republican health care crisis? Don't say farcical things.
That's the problem. When you try to fix a problem during COVID or during a pandemic or during an emergency, then they continuously want to continue it on. But we don't have the money to fund that.
Also, Ainsley, this is not Chuck Schumer. This is not who he is. This is legislation that he's voted for in the past. This sudden wind in his sails where he has to fight every little thing. You can't hold the entire country hostage just so you can win your primary if AOC challenges you.
He saw that Zohran Mamdani is a no on this. He saw that Zohran won in New York City. He knows that AOC was campaigning with him, help him get over the line, and he did. So New York likes both of them. They like these socialists, these progressives. So Chuck Schumer, I think, he looked at what he did last March. He got a lot of flack for that from his constituents because they're so progressive. And I think now he's saying, I really want to win my primary. I'm probably going to be up against AOC.
So I saw Abigail Spanberger push back against his wife. I just want this open. She's a congresswoman until she becomes mayor. Mikey Sherrill was unable to make that adjustment, not surprising. But she said, no, we need to reopen the government. And what Angus King was saying, we'll hear from him later. I was watching him last night. He just said, look, they're not going to budge. We shut the government, basically saying we shut the government down, and there's no flights, there's no SNAP programs. What are we going to do? So John Thune, they're taking him at his word. He's going to have a vote for December. I think he's going to have a vote to extend these subsidies of $40 billion and more by December. But this shows a divide within the party. It's not our opinion. We just read it to you. They made it public. Bill Maher weighed in on it, and he's concerned.
Ma'am Donnie, sorry. He's a socialist, a democratic socialist, makes no bones about that. Abigail Spanberger, she's one of the ones who won yesterday, big, in Virginia, okay? She said after the last election, we need to not ever use the word socialist or social. Explain this economy. How some people are eating $36 cheeseburgers. They don't do what you do,
Not
though.
me.
Not you.
Not me.
We know that. You're poor. And other people are voting for socialism. And I understand why they're voting for socialism, because they can't even make ends meet, and they're worried about eating at all. How do we get the economy back to something that looks like what I remember as normal as a kid?
In my view, though, Brian, the war is pretty much over when it comes to the Democrats. They're capitulating to the socialist wing. They're not fighting back. Many of these senators that voted for this, which we thank them for doing this for the country, with the exception of Fetterman and other few, either they're not up for re-election or they're retiring. So the only ones that had the will were the ones that were not in Trump states, which they understand that's a problem. They're not up for re-election or they're retiring. So you have the party at large capitulating to the left wing of their base. Right. And it's not going to end well for the Democrats. I know many of them feel like they have the wind in their sails because of the last election in states that are already pretty much blue, Virginia, as well as New Jersey, and some of these city council races. But when you come to the midterms where everybody is up, you can't run on this type of stuff.
I hope not.
Boy.
Because can you imagine if mainstream Democratic thought process was Zohran Mamdani and AOC? That would worry me for the country. So a great feature this weekend on Governor Shapiro. Seems like a level-headed person. I'd love to see a level-headed person like that go against whoever the Republicans put up. I think it just makes people less worried about the severity of the direction should Democrats win. I would say, too, Republicans can't take a bow. No. Because too many people suffered, too much air travel has been destroyed. Everything that's happened over the last few months, you don't say we won. I would not do that. I would say, watch, we're going to give you your vote. Our word matters. And by January 30th, hopefully there'll be no